So we're told that points A and B lie on circle with center P as shown in the diagram. So A and B lay on circle C. Point A has coordinates of 1, -2, and the midpoint of AB has coordinates 3 and 1. So we know that this point here, M, is the midpoint of this chord. We're also told that line L passes through points M and P, and we're being asked to find the equation for L. So we know because this point is the midpoint and it cuts through the center of the circle, we know that this is a perpendicular bisector. So we know that this angle here would be 90 degrees. So that means that the gradient of this line is going to be the negative reciprocal of the gradient of this line. So that's our first step to finding the equation of line L, which is this. So firstly, we're going to find the equation of this chord AB. So we can write the equation for a straight line y take away y1 is equal to m x take away x1. Now we know 2 points on this line. We know A and M. So A has coordinates 1, -2, and M has coordinates 3, 1. So we can say that this is x, y, and then x1, y1. Now to get our gradient, we're just going to divide both sides by x take away x1. So M is going to be equal to y take away y1 over x take away x1. And then we can just substitute our values in. So M is going to be equal to y, so -2, take away y1, which is 1, divided by x, which is 3, take away x1, x, which is 1, take away x1, which is 3. So that's just going to give us -3 over -2, which obviously negatives will cancel out. So 3 over 2. Now that we know that this is our gradient for line AB, so we can write MAB is going to be equal to 3 over 2. So then the gradient of the perpendicular bisector, that's what this symbol here means, is going to be the negative reciprocal. So basically what we're trying to find is a number that when you multiply it with this, it gives -1. And you can just think of that as flipping the fraction upside down and putting a negative there. And these two, if you do the work, then it will give -1. So now we know our gradient. So we can write out the equation again. Y take away y1 is equal to m x take away x1. And we know a point that lies on this line here is going to be m. We can see that here. So we can write that. Don't get this m and this m confused. This is the gradient. This is just the point on the graph. So m has point 3, 1. So then we can call this x1, y1. And we know that m, the gradient, is equal to -2 over 3. So we can rearrange this and say y take away y1. So y take away 1 is equal to m, -2 over 3. X take away x1, which is 3. And unless you're being told to give it in a specific form, you can just leave the equation of the line like this. So this is our answer. So part B tells us that given that the x ordinate of P is equal to 6, determine the y ordinate. So basically we're just being asked to find the coordinates of point P. So we know that P is going to have 6, and then we want to find y. So the easiest way to do that is literally just to substitute into here. So we know that the equation of L is going to be y take away 1 is equal to -2 over 3 multiplied by x take away 3. So we can just, to get y by itself, we just add 1 to both sides. So y is equal to -2 over 3 x take away 3 plus 1. And then if we put our x value in here, because this is linear, we should get our y out. So y is equal to -2 over 3. And then opening another bracket for our x, we put 6 take away 3 plus 1, which is equal to -1. Therefore, the coordinates of P is going to be 6, -1. Part C asks us to find an equation for the circle. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but it's going to be alright. So we know that point P has coordinates 6, -1. And we can also see that point A lies on the edge of the circle, on the circumference. So therefore, this line here must be its radius. And that's an important part for knowing the equation of a circle. So we can say this line is going to be R. So how can we find the distance between 2 points? We can just use the formula D is equal to delta x squared plus delta y squared, the square root of that, sorry. So then putting it into terms of what we're doing here, R, the radius, is going to be equal to delta x, and we can just write that here. Delta x is going to be equal to x1 take away x. And if we write our two coordinates, which we know are on the radius, so P, which is 6, -1, and then A, which is going to be 1, -2. And then we label this x, y, x1, y1. We can see that the change in x, which is what delta x is going to be x1, which is 1, take away 6, which is -5. So then delta y is much the same, so y1 take away y. But this time we're going to do y1, so -2 take away y, which is -1, so negative will be a plus, so that's just going to be -1. So the radius is going to be equal to the square root of -5 squared plus -1 squared. So then that's just going to be 25 plus 1. Therefore, the radius will be equal to root 26. So now that we know our radius, we can just write out the general form of a circle. So we know that a circle is going to have the equation x take away a squared plus y take away b squared is going to be equal to r squared. So our a and b is going to be the center of the circle, but it's going to be flipped. So we know that the center of the circle P is going to have coordinates 6, -1. Therefore, when you put it into brackets, it's going to be x plus 6 because you flip the sign, x minus 6 because you flip the sign around. So x minus 6 squared plus y, and then -1 is plus 1 squared is going to be equal to r squared, and r is root 26. So root 26 squared, that's just going to cancel out the square root. So we get the final equation of the circle to be x minus 6 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 26.